And we heard a bit more detail about the operation to release the hostages as well. That we didn't previously know. We heard that the police did at some stage try to negotiate with the terrorists. And we also heard that he was carrying a false explosive vest. One of the men had a false explosive vest and also a gun.
Yes, that's right. So as we heard from the state prosecutor, the police tried to go into a side entrance of the church, but they couldn't because the perpetrators were using the hostages as human shields. And then at some point, the attackers, I don't know if because they perhaps decided the situation was hopeless, they basically charged the police, which is exactly what happened with the Kouachi brothers in that final siege outside Paris after the Charlie Hebdo attacks. And of course they were killed at that point by police, but they rushed the police crying out, "God is great." And what was later found on their bodies was indeed a fake explosives belt and 3 knives. Also, the other terrorist had a backpack with a false explosive device, and but there was one real weapon. Well, there were several real weapons. There were 3 knives involved, we heard, and 1 handgun. And so it certainly appears to have been a real handgun, or at least there was no statement to the contrary by the prosecutor.
And I mean, you mentioned the Kouachi brothers there. The difference is that they were, hardened criminals who'd had actual military training in a war zone in Yemen. Unlike what we know about this person, who tried but failed to get to Syria to join the so-called caliphate and get some military training. I mean, this is the new era of terrorism, isn't it? This is someone who can watch this stuff on YouTube and decide to pick a knife out of the drawer and go and murder somebody.
Exactly, yeah. It's sort of DIY terrorism, as I've called it before. But, I mean, I think the handgun is very significant because it begs the question, again, we've been talking a lot in the context of the German attacks as well. For example, the Munich shooter, although he was not a member of an ISL, as far as we know, but he was mentally unstable. He got hold of a weapon that he shouldn't have had a license for, and this is something that keeps coming back. There is obviously a problem with weapons going around on the black market that can be accessed by people who might...
The Nice attacker as well.
Exactly.